How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another video. So what you're about to see is the accumulation of all of my time away from claim sales and buying. I had mentioned in many of my videos that I had very much kind of pumped the brakes and I was slowing down, both because my work is incredibly busy this time of year and because I had my eyes on some bigger books to round out the end of this year. And you don't realize how much those small buys on eBay, claim sales, really start to rack up, that if you just ignore two or three of them in a row even, that right there could get you well on your way to some of the bigger books that you have your eye on, that you had on your list for the longest time. So that's kind of where I've been at. I've pulled back quite a bit from everything. Wasn't really, I still keep my eye on a couple things, some eBay auctions, some claim sales. I still usually tune in just to see if anything pops up I might be interested in. But as we got closer to Christmas, I started seeing, particularly on eBay, where a lot of the bigger books that I've been watching for a bit, I kept getting more and more offers on said books. I think this time of year is a little slower for sellers because everybody is spending money on Christmas, the holidays, there's less money to go around. Sellers themselves, I'm sure, have their own Christmases, their own families that they need to prioritize and get into gear. So the more books they can move, especially the bigger books, having that chunk of change in their pocket, I'm sure helps out that much better. Because of that, that left open a lot of opportunities for a lot of books I've had my eye on. And the last 2 to 3 weeks in particular, I have gone kind of on a buying rampage to really check off some of the bigger books that I've had my eye on for quite a bit. And each book I'm going to show off, I will kind of explain the situation, where I got it, if I ended up, how I ended up getting it, why I chose to buy it now. As you saw from the thumbnail, there's quite a few awesome books in here, but it's the grades on the books that I find even more amazing. So, first one up, let's get right into it with the first book. So this book I actually had never heard of before until it came up in a claim sale. This is Bomba the Jungle Boy, issue number 1. I had never heard of this book, I had never seen this book, but this came up, I was in Strictly Comics auctions. Ed Craze had this and a couple others up there, and as soon as he had it up, he had this for $50. I had to grab it. It's a 7.0, white pages, 1967, but the colors on it and the artwork, I was instantly drawn to it. And then when he mentioned who the actual cover artist was, or at least one of them, it made that much more sense why I was drawn to it. So this is a Carmine Infantino cover, who I've mentioned many times before. I love his Batman, his Detective comic covers. He's one of my favorite Silver Age artists, so it makes much more sense why I was drawn to this book. And it is also, I might butcher it, but a Charles Cudera cover. So between those two, as soon as this hit the screen in the auction for $50, had to have it. And the fact that it's, again, white pages for the Silver Age makes it incredible. But again, go ahead, get a nice close look at that. Carmine Infantino, Charles on there. But just the coloring of the reds, the greens, that water. And again, I love Carmine Infantino's art style so much that even though I had never heard of this book, never heard of this title, I absolutely had to have it. And for $50, this was an incredible score. I could not be happier with this. So this is kind of like the oddball out there, the little one that I don't know how many of you guys have heard of, but if you haven't, check it out because this book is incredible. But let's get on to book number 2. So next up we have Aquaman, issue 29. This is the origin and first appearance of Ocean Master, Aquaman's half-brother Orm. And this book I had wanted for quite a bit. The impressive thing about this book, though, is it is a 9.2 Silver Age first appearance. I had had my eye on this one for quite a while. And again, this is one that I believe I got from My Comic Shop. Anytime I see My Comic Shop listings on eBay, I usually first find them on eBay because of my saved searches, and then I will go on their website and look the book up because they will almost always have it listed cheaper on their website because they don't have to pay the eBay fees. So this one I got for a pretty good deal. I had wanted this book for quite a bit. I really enjoyed the first Aquaman movie, and I even got some fun out of the second one. I know not everybody was so high on it. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't the greatest movie, but it was a fun, good time. And the best thing out of it was Aquaman and his brother's relationship in that movie. So This one too, again, 9.2, Silver Age, first appearance, just absolutely incredible. I was very, very happy to finally add this one to the collection. I'm also trying to get first appearance of Black Manta, but I haven't quite stabbed it yet. I do have my eye on one, so we'll see how that happens in the future. But my comic shop in particular, a few of these, and actually one more I'm still waiting on, are that I found them on eBay because of my saved searches, went on their website. Some of them were just cheap enough on the website that I jumped on it right then and there. Other ones had a best offer option on their site, so I got it even under, like well under what their eBay listed price was. But here we have Aquaman issue 29, again, first appearance and origin of Ocean Master, absolutely incredible. And they're just getting even better from there. Here we have Batman issue 181. This is another one I have wanted on my list for absolutely the longest time. This is the first appearance of Poison Ivy, Pamela Lillian Isley. And the important thing with this book when you get it raw is it has that infamous pinup by Infantino and Anderson in here. So obviously with the blue label slabbed, I don't have to worry about that. But this book is one that, for twofold, out of all of Batman's rogues, I had decided to focus more on the first appearances and not so much the first Silver Age appearances first. And this is one of the few keys where it's an actual first appearance, not in the Golden Age. But the other good thing about this book is we have a 7.0 for the first appearance of Poison Ivy. And like I said, this is one I was waiting for the perfect copy for myself to come up, where I knew I couldn't get anything incredibly high grade, but I also knew I didn't want to just go out for a 3 or a 4. I easily could have, but something I've also been trying to get better at this year, I got in a habit of just buying a book that seemed moderately priced, you know, well within my budget, just to have that first appearance of that book in my collection. And I had found myself in several scenarios wishing I had held out, just saved up a little bit more money and got a better copy. I love having and owning the books and the characters, but it was still within my budget. If I had just been a little bit more patient, put a little bit more time, got a better copy, like this one right here. So I've been trying to do that more and more with books I'm looking to add to my collection. But the impressive thing with this 7.0, so go ahead, nice close look, is I knew that I wanted one that not just presented well, but I wanted the colors to pop. Where Poison Ivy on that cover with that kind of light red-orange background, just absolutely front and center. So this book, while it is a 7.0, and you can see, you know, it's not flawless. It has the wear around the edges. But still, overall for a 7.0, this book is absolutely incredible. And that is because of something else I have been working on getting better at, which is just because it is CGC and it is slabbed, even at higher grades, I will not buy a book without looking up the cert number to see why it got the grade it had. Because I had seen even some books in the 9s, when I looked up the grader's notes, it mentioned very light staple rust in some situations. So weird things like that for higher grade books, I didn't know books could get that high grade with such defects as that. So I've been more and more careful about not just grabbing, I want a Batman in a 7.0, why is it a 7.0 and is that the grade for me? This book has something very interesting where it is a 7.0, but it looks significantly better than a 7.0 because one of the things bringing it down is it has some writing on the interior cover and on the first page of the book. So that factors into the overall grade, which is the absolute perfect book I'm always looking for when I'm trying to add a presenting high grade first appearance to my collection. Because as everybody against slabs, you know, that's one of the big things is that you can't enjoy the book, you can't open it, you can't read it. It will forever live in this case. Because of that, I am absolutely fine with some flaws that if it has staining or even some chipping to the back of the cover, that's a win for me, as long as the front looks great. A book that has some writing on the interior cover or on that first page, that's a win for me because I will never rip it out of this slab and have to see what is in there. And again, on the interior cover of first page, it's not really going to mess up the story overall of the book. And like I said, those defects are already factored into the 7.0. But for me, for my book in the slab presenting, I have essentially way over a 7.0 because a lot of the things bringing it down are inside the book that you can't see, which means that the cover is absolutely incredible, and I have a much more affordable, way better presenting 7.0 because of what it has going on. And this book is one, there were two different books, this one and the last one I'm going to end off today. It was listed at an eBay auction, at an eBay auction, but the starting bid was about what the fair market price was going for. I forget if it was $1,500 or $1,600, but that was the starting bid on the book. So a couple auctions only had 5 people watching, and as it got a little bit closer to the end date, I submitted, they had an offer option as well. So instead of taking the chance of doing my bid and hoping that I was going to get it and nobody else was going to bid and bump it up, I went for the best offer option, and I bid $100 to $200 below the starting bid. First day or two, because I think it's actually it might be 24 hours that they have to accept that. The longest time, there was nothing on it, so I figured, okay, they would rather let the auction go, see what happens, understandable. But then as the time for my offer started to run out, and the number of watchers did not go up, and nobody had bid on the book, I think that little bit of desperation of having that real money offered came in, and they accepted my offer. So I got this book, again, masterfully presenting 7.0 for $100 to $200 below the fair market value of a regular 7.0. I thought this was an absolute steal, and I was incredibly happy. This just showed up yesterday, the day before, I believe. So this was kind of the one I was waiting to finally do this video. I have a couple more small things on the way, slabs, but nothing incredibly expensive. I love them, but I couldn't wait on this video any longer. But as you can tell, absolutely ecstatic to have this one. But let's move on to the next one. And here we have another absolute banger, Detective Comics issue 359. This is another one I've had on my list for a very long time. This is Origin and First Appearance of Batgirl Barbara Gordon. And this is another one that I knew I was going to own. I knew I had to add it this year. This was one that I also just had a hard time pinning down what grade did I want. I knew I wanted to have it in the collection, but this is one that, again, that several times I almost bought a much lower grade copy just to have it. And I decided I would rather wait. I love the colors and the cover so much that this book to me was worth holding out for a better condition copy when the time was right. So this one right here, like the last book, is a 7.0 First Appearance of Batgirl Barbara Gordon. Again, just kind of look at that. Absolutely incredible. The characters, the colors, just this iconic first appearance, quite literally splashing onto the page right there. I am extremely happy. And again, this is another one where I want to focus in not just on Silver Age first appearances, but on overall first appearances. So in addition to some slight wear that, you would expect, I think the other big thing that really brings the grade down on this one, and you can see it much better on the back, is that it's just not that white. It has some tanning. The tanning was mentioned in the notes. And as long as it doesn't drastically disrupt the colors, tanning is another feature I would rather have on a book bringing it down, so the overall quality is better, as long as, again, it doesn't drastically mess up the colors. Because I would always choose colors over quality, and having that vibrancy pop off, especially when it's in a slab, so you're just going to display it and look at it. And again, this, still can't believe I finally have it. Like I said, all of these came actually in and showed up in the past week or two. So it's been like an early Christmas to myself right now. So this is another one that my comic, actually, was it My Comic Shop? Or yes, My Comic Shop had listed up on eBay. So it was already decently priced. I went onto their website. I saw that they had it, again, a decent amount lower on their website. So I bought it, I snagged it, I absolutely had to have it. Again, I'm extremely happy. It's been so long since I've added any real Batman first appearances to the collection. I've been focusing on the odd and obscure, which the next and final book you're going to see ties into both of those things. But super happy. Let's check out this last book. Now, this is one that I'm not sure how many people are too familiar with. This is a Golden Age Detective Comics issue 74, and it has not one but two first appearances. It's just characters that nobody would really care about except for myself. The other cool thing about this book is off-white pages. This is a 7.5, and it is one of the incredibly old labels, so while there might be room, for some improvement if somebody was to press or clean, overall, for now, I would like to get it in a newer slab. But it's just 7.5. That already is amazing. This came out in 1943, and this is a Crowley copy. So we also have a little pedigree going on right here. But this, for anybody that does not know, is the first appearances of Tweedledee and Tweedledum, who again, we have right on the cover. This book is one of the odd ones that I can't fully explain to you why it spoke to me. It just did. I have been watching a 5.0 copy on eBay, I believe for over a year now, and it is listed, I think it was starting out at $5,000. It got dropped and it's been at $4,000, but it's been at $4,000 since I can remember. This is another copy where they had an auction. This one came up in a 7.5. I want to say the starting bid was somewhere around $1,700 or $1,800. It ended up getting, I think, 5 to 6 watchers on it, but it had a best offer option as well. So this is another one. I submitted, I think I went somewhere between $200 to $500 below the starting bid. He came back with another offer. I think it was somewhere in the middle. I think in the end, I ended up getting this for $100 to $200 below the starting bid, and they did end up accepting it. So another situation where, again, I think times are tight right now. If you're a seller, I know it's not too great. They've also got Christmas. They've got bills to pay. And most people that are into comics like this probably aren't buying these for their loved ones. I'm sure there are in some situations, but I know I do not have anybody buying me comics, A, because they don't know what I really want. They don't know what I already have. And not all of them, but the price of some of the ones I'm interested in, I would never expect somebody to spend that on a comic for myself. I would rather just spend that money myself. I would never ask that of anybody. So this again, for a Golden Age book, 7.5, first appearance of Tweedledee Tweedledum, and I absolutely just love how they are drawn on this cover. Quite literally like a couple of human bowling balls coming down the hill. And in terms of Batman rogues, they are nothing special, nothing crazy, nothing significant. But I love anything that, again, is obscure in itself and that ties into, I'm a big Alice in Wonderland fan. So the Mad Hatter is another big one for me. You have the White Rabbit that was introduced. You have Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Again, just absolutely awesome. And when this book came up for auction, after watching that overly expensive 5.0 for the longest time, I knew I absolutely had to have it. All right, everybody, so there we have it. Like I said, after quite literally months of nothing too crazy, some small books here, some small books there. Ooh, actually, I have one more thing let's share. It is not CGC, but I do have a few more books that came in that might as well throw them into this little haul we have going on. And that is going to be a nice little Silver Age Nick Cardy Aquaman bundle that these came up on eBay from it was a seller selling off his private collection. Each of these was listed for $15, and they are like decently high grade. These books are amazing, and I could not believe it. I ended up buying all of the Aquaman that he actually had listed, which there's a small stack there, small stack. But these I had wanted, again, Nick Cardy Aquaman. He made me a fan. I loved the movies that came out. Did not care for Aquaman before that. With the movies, Nick Cardy's Aquaman, the more and more I'm discovering of it, I'm just collecting more and more of it, not just the big first appearances. But here we have issue 55. This gorgeous dark cover. Very nice and well presenting right there. Absolutely incredible. And this is another one I've had my eye on just in general for a while as well. Issue 54, Which, come on, that is just awesome. Being pulled through the mirror right there. That's just cool. Next up, we have, again, another all-time classic that I have been waiting for a decent presenting copy that I wanted to go in on. I found this one, $15. Oh, so happy. Issue 53 is California Sinking. And again, look at that black cover. Look at that spine. Yeah, it's 15 cents, not 12 cents. But this book is almost immaculate. And this is kind of what I mean with kind of taking my time instead of just buying books for the sake of buying books, being a little bit more picky, a little bit more choosy. Then we have issue 49. Again, just an incredible, awesome cover. And I'm not sure if all of them are, but I think they're pretty much, right in order because it was, again, his personal collection that he was selling off. So again, we have issue 48, which I think I might own this copy, but if I do, it is definitely 100% not as good a condition as this one right here. There we have, beautiful monster cover there with the blue ocean. Issue 47. Absolutely. Again, the condition and the colors on these are stunning. It almost looks like he bought these off the rack himself, but he did not say in the listing. Maybe he also was just a proprietor of very high-grade copies. But this right there, man. That black background, the yellow spotlight, Viking helmet, the details, the colors, all of these are just incredible. That was issue 46. So that is everything I have right there. That is why, for you in the comic book community, have not seen me in as many claim sales. That is why I haven't been as busy on YouTube. That and work is absolutely slammed right now. It will be until we get through the new year. But my wallet and bank account have been accumulating, which meant when these opportunities presented themselves, I was able to make the right moves without, again, putting myself in a tight spot, not overspending. I made sure that everything was planned smartly so that, again, when these opportunities presented themselves, I was in a very good spot to finally add these books and these grades to my collection. So that is everything I have for you today. If you guys are collecting as well and you've made some, doesn't even matter how big it is, just in the past few months as we round out 2024, what are some of the favorite books that you've been able to pick up this year? And I know that the clock's ticking out. We only got about a week or two until this year's over. But do you also have anything else you still plan to snag in that week or two before we hit 2025? So I hope you enjoy seeing the books I've shown here today. And I honestly would love to see what you guys have been picking up. What are you most proud of that you've been able to add to your collection? No matter how big, no matter how small, it's just collect what you love. And it doesn't matter what it is or how much it costs. Thank you guys for checking out this video. Until next time.